Let's talk about some units that some of you might still be sleeping on a little bit. There are some really good units in this game, and it's taken me a little bit of time to fully appreciate some of them. So I thought we would talk about them today. No specific rarity. Some of these are Nat 5, some of them are Nat 3s. Just gonna talk about a handful of units again that I think might be getting overlooked, either based on the conversations that I see across the community, or because I spent a little time overlooking them. So let's go ahead and jump into it with the first one. This is a unit I've loved from the start because she's very similar to a unit in Summoner's War that I really loved. The Light Dome Fighter is one of my most used units in PvP. I think she is so cool, and you can do a lot of really cool stuff with her. She's on my most used Guild War offense and my most successful Guild War defense. If we go to my defense, you'll see this was against a guild that I was not going to get defensive wins on. But you'll see, generally speaking, I use my second slot to test some stuff out, but it's no stranger to getting defense wins, and she's on it. She's very, very good. I also use her in offense a lot. Sometimes I'll swap in Fire Surgeon, which is another unit we're talking about today, but she's definitely on my most used Guild War team across the board, offense and defense. She's really, really good. Let's talk a little bit about her and some cool stuff you can do with her. The big thing about her is that she can't be one-shotted. You have to hit her at least 5 times to kill her. And if you have any sort of sustain, if you've got her in Vampire or you've got any sort of sustain, any sort of healing on the team, she's going to be really annoying to deal with, because on top of not being able to be one-shotted, this passive's on a 2-turn, so every time she gets hit and the passive stops the amount of damage that she would take at that 20%, she's going to give herself 2 turns of immunity, and it's on a 2-turn cooldown. So she's going to have immunity for a lot of the time. She's got a taunt on the A2, 100% chance if you skill it up, which means as long as you've got the accuracy, she's going to get a taunt up. And she's got a 60% chance to stun on the A1. That is a very high chance to stun on an A1. So again, if you wanted to use her that way, you could load her up on accuracy. What I like to do with her, because her defense, her damage scales off her defense, I like to load her up with defense and get some sneaky crit in there and some resistance to make it a little bit harder to like Oblivion her or control her, and then load her up on counter. And she's just quite a problem. You have to be real careful about hitting me AoE with squishy units, because she'll counter you, and if she doesn't one-shot your nuker, she's probably going to stun them. She's just a lot of fun. I think she's really cool. And on top of that, when you start getting into some of the more difficult stages up in Tunnel, she was on the team that I used to get through 90, and I used her at 3-star. There's a popular way to do it with one that's low level, so I guess she's more likely to be targeted, and she's easier to heal back to full health. But you see, she's very popular for this. I used her in what I beat this stage with. I think I've taken her out since, but I used her in beating this stage as well. And this is Tunnel Hard. We're closing in on 100, so she's being used like in the very late stages of some pretty difficult content, as well as being a very good sneaky unit. I run her on my defense a lot of the time. I don't know if she's there right now because I'm trying to have, I try to have a sort of a weak defense a little later in the week, and then we'll start switching it up a little bit. But I think I placed 64 in this last rush. I was number 64, and she was one of the units on my defense. Just a really, really good unit that I think maybe might not be getting the shine that she should be. So if you've got her and you're looking for some fun stuff to do with her, to do in your account, maybe you need some more Guild War offenses or something, might be worth giving her a go. She's easy to skill up, very easy to use, very simple. She's not very stat hungry. You don't need a lot of HP because the passive simulates having a lot of HP. So you can really load her up on defense and sneak some damage in there if you want. You could go the other route and load up a bunch of accuracy and just make her a CC nightmare for enemies. Lots of really cool stuff to do with her. She's pretty versatile and a lot of fun. One of the more fun units for me in the game to use. So that's the first one. Let's move on to who else? Who do we want to talk about next here? I think maybe let's talk about Let's go ahead and talk about the fire specialist, because this is one I was guilty of sleeping on for a little too long. I figured, I knew she was decent. You know what I mean? I pulled her and I was like, oh yeah, she seems pretty cool. I'll do something with her at some point. But I don't think I fully registered everything that was going on with her. So let's talk a little bit about her. She has a pretty high chance to put paralysis up on the A1, and if you don't know, paralysis reduces the effect activation rate of all active abilities by 50%. I was under the impression for a while that paralysis also worked on passives. It does not. It only works on active skills. But basically what that means is like somebody like Water Sorcerer, if he has paralysis, when he does his AoE turn meter reset and slow, there is a 50% chance on every unit individually that either or the turn meter knockback and the slow won't happen. It just won't happen. It's a flip of the coin now whether or not the effects of a skill are going to work. You'll get the damage. I think it can work on like if a skill has a chance to ignore damage, or if it says it ignores damage. I think there might be a chance for it to not ignore damage, but it's a pretty strong debuff, right? It's good RNG. It's great for defenses because again, it throws a wrench into what someone's trying to do. If I put this on your cleanser and they go to cleanse, then half the cleanses might not happen. You know what I mean? So it's pretty strong debuff for an A1. For the A2, attacks all enemies 2 times, 60% chance of placing a stun, and a damage over time. I'm trying real hard. She really likes to eat beans, so I'm trying to. I wanted this, and of course, you know, we had to get the A1 first. But anyway, that's a different story. So pretty strong, good crowd control, good dodge. This makes her good in tunnel. This makes her pretty good in PvP. This makes her good for waves. This makes her good for a lot of things. But where it really starts to get ridiculous on her, and what I didn't fully appreciate the value of, is her passive. When attacking or being attacked, there's a 50% probability, and it'll be 60% if she'll ever eat the right bean. So skilled up, it's a 60% probability of converting one of the target's buff effects into damage over turn. When you attack an enemy, deal damage equal to 5% of the target's current HP for each debuff they have, but not exceeding 15% of your max HP. There's a lot to unpack here, and I think one of the reasons that I slept on it is maybe just because there's a little bit to unpack there, and I didn't fully unpack it the first time I read it. This makes her a stripper for PvP content. She is a fairly reliable buff remover. And what she'll do is she'll remove them and replace them with dots. And then if you're doing it with the AoE, also a chance to stun. So you could go into a fight where a team has immunity and shield, open up with her A2. She will get rid of all the buffs, put a stun and dots on the enemies. It is a ridiculous way to kick off a fight. All right, it is a ridiculous way to kick off a fight. Beyond that, which is already way more than enough, way more than enough. We might have to go in and so I can show you what she looks like in action. She's also really good for like bosses because she's gonna do substantial damage to them. She does 5% damage equal to 5% of their current HP for each debuff they have, but not exceeding 15% of your HP. So if you can get a decent amount of HP on her, everybody she hits, if they have debuff, she's going to do that kind of damage to them. So she can help you take down bosses without needing the defense down, without needing a lot. Again, I used her in the Dark Specialist stage as well, and she was kind of my main source of damage and getting the boss down. She is ridiculous, man. She's really a ridiculous champ. I kind of want you to see her in action. Let me try to put something together real quick for her. Let's go. And to top it all off, she's got a speed lead that works in all content. Crazy. That's crazy, dude. Let's go booster. Let's go you. We'll just run my cleave, and instead of Fire Queen, I'll run her, and hopefully this goes well. So I'm kind of hoping they have immunity and shield, so you can see what I'm talking about. No immunity, but if they had immunity, she would get rid of it and leave everybody looking like that. That is a bonkers way to open up a fight, especially for the fact that it doesn't matter. It wouldn't matter if there was immunity on the team. You know what I mean? She's so strong. She's so strong. So if you have her, I mean, I think she's one of the better Nat 5s in the game. Honestly, she is so strong. So if you have her and you have not built her, build her. Yes, she is worth skill ups. Yes, she is worth your best gear. I do think that she is one of the best units in the game. I just think she's insane. So if you have her, don't sleep on her. We'll also talk a little bit about the water specialists as well. Basically, what I'm doing with them right now is I'm just moving the gear back and forth when I want to use one or the other. Eventually, I'm going to get her in a set of her own as well, so I can probably use them together. But for now, I'm moving them back and forth. But I want to talk about her as well because she has the same A1 and the same A2. But then she has an active A3 instead of a passive. And she has a Hex debuff for 2 turns with a 30% turn meter boost, and it ignores immunity. Now, Hex is, I think undisputably the most insane debuff in this game. It ignores immunity. So that means she can Hex anybody at any time. The only things in this game she can't Hex are dungeon bosses and I think tunnel bosses. Like the stage 10 tunnel bosses. Other than that, I think she can Hex everything in this game under any circumstances. No matter what buffs they have, no matter what their passive is, no matter what is going on, she is going to Hex them and put block buffs on them just as an insult. And Hex is like... you can kind of use it the same way you use Oblivion, but it's even more intense than Oblivion because it also takes away their active skills. So there's some units that even if you take their passive away, they're still going to be threatening. This removes it. They just become a harmless wisp for 2 turns, and if you skill her up, it's on a 4-turn cooldown. So if you have good turn cycling and any form of cooldown reduction, she's just going to be pumping out Hex all the time. It is going to be such a problem. She is absolutely going to be used in like high-level live arena and stuff. I can't imagine she won't be. Hex is so strong, and the fact that it ignores immunity almost seems like too much. It almost seems too strong because there's nothing you can do to stop it. There's nothing you can do about it. She is going to Hex you if she wants to Hex you, which is crazy. And then again, on top of that, to have the AoE stun with the dot. So you can imagine a tunnel team. If you have both of them, you can imagine a tunnel team. They can kind of carry a tunnel team. You could throw in, Turtle Tank with them, and honestly, anything else you wanted to at that point. A turn meter booster, Turtle Tank, and Dark Giant, or Fire Popo or something, and they'll never get a turn, and you'll just stun and dot them down. They're insane. They're insane units. I like the Win-Win too. I don't think I'm going to talk about her as a unit that's getting slept on just yet, but she's also pretty cool. She's pretty good support. But yeah, the Fire and Water Specialist. If you have either or both of these units and you're not utilizing them, I think you should change that. I think you need to get some gear on them and get them in the action because they're just absolutely ridiculous, man. I'm very excited to get an actual set of gear on her and get her more involved in some of the stuff I'm doing because again, like all these ridiculous, scary Guild War teams that you see that have all these crazy the bears, the light bear, just Hex him. Just Hex him and it's over. No more problem. You got a dark clown that's annoying you that you can't kill because you can't stop critting him. You bring her, you Hex him, it's over. It's ridiculous. The barbarian stages, that stage 97 tunnel. If you have another Oblivion unit, bring her in, hex somebody. She's ridiculous. All right, she's absolutely ridiculous. So that's another one that I think if you're not aware, Fire and or Water Specialist are insane units. All right, let's see. Who else did we have on this list that we wanted to talk about today? I know I want to talk about Fire Surgeon. He is another one of my most used units. I think I would like to get him skilled up. The reason I don't feel super eager to do it is because I don't need the cooldown. But the extra chance on the defense down would be pretty nice. But this unit is so cool because he's really versatile. You don't really have to do any one particular thing with him, and there's so many things in the game that he cancels out. He presents such a problem. So, and again, the versatility in the way you can use him. You could load him up with like speed and attack and crit stats and have him be a nuker. You could bruise him up. That's kind of how I use him. I went a little bit more the bruiser route and tried to get some sneaky crit in there so he could do a little bit of damage. But really, I just want him to be alive and a problem. So he is another very popular unit for me. I use him. I think he's one of my. I have a third preset now because I was playing around with something, but he's on my one of the two main presets that I use in Arena. I use him very frequently in Guild War as well. He's kind of the flex for my dome, my light dome fighter spot. Can I not? Yeah, I'll do it like this. Still get used to how to navigate all this. You'll see, like, sometimes this team will have light dome fighter in it, and then sometimes it will have fire surgeon in it. So if there's passives that are going to be annoying for me, then I'll bring him. So like he's got an annoying passive. He's got an annoying passive. So I just kind of bring him into a team, and he's pretty tanky. It's kind of hard to kill. He's got plenty of support. So he just cancels out passives. So like this team, this could be a very aggravating team to deal with. But I just go in and I just single target the nurse the whole time. I keep Oblivion on her, so her passive isn't proccing all the time. My Iron Fist keeps immunity up, so I don't have to worry about him. And then I just move my attention over to the bear, or I'll move my attention over to him and do the bear last. But like, he cancels out so much the problems of all these different passes in the game. He gets rid of that, and he's useful in Arena, and he's useful in Guild Wars, and he's very useful in Tunnel. There's a lot of really annoying passives as you come up through Tunnel. And if you've got Tree Wisp Catcher, there's some stages where he can lock it down, but there's some stages like that stage 97 barb bullshit from last month, where everybody's a different element, so you need as much as you can get. So he's another unit that can make that much easier on you. So he's useful in some PvE situations. He's very useful in PvP, and he's very, very versatile. You could do a lot of different things with him. So I think he's one that you should consider. I chose him from my Nat 5 event, actually. My options were Water Iron Fist and then Water Music Queen, which are both excellent units. And in the last couple days, I was like, you know what, let me just pull one more unit and see if anything interesting pops up. But I was kind of leaning toward taking a Iron Fist. And then I got Fire Surgeon, and I was like, oh, that sort of changes things. And I think it's one of the better decisions I've made in the account, because again, he's one of my most used units. And as much as I think Iron Fist would be a lot of fun to use in PvP, wouldn't do much for me anywhere else. And I just didn't really need Water Music Queen for what she did. So really, really good unit. And again, if you have him and are not using him, I think there's a few different ways to do it. I went the Bruiser route, but you could certainly just make him threat. Just load him up and have him be one of your single target nukes, because he can also do that. So pretty cool unit. One more. We're going to talk about one more unit, and then I'm going to kind of talk about a group of units that I'm going to kind of put into one category. That'll everything I'm going to say is going to apply to several units. But for the last single unit that I want to talk about, the Water Dome fighter, who I had seen in Arena a few times, and got to the point where I wouldn't hit a defense anymore if she was on it, because she just takes too long to kill, and sometimes she's kind of a threat. So for Rush Hour this past week, during Rush Hour actually, because my defense was getting hit too much, I 6-starred her real quick and loaded her up on HP and threw her in my defense. So my defense was Fire Iron Fist, Fire Nurse, Light Dome Fighter, Water Dome Fighter. And I think from there, I did it pretty early on in Rush, and I think after I put her in, I think I got hit 7 or 8 times in all of Rush Hour. People don't want to attack this unit, so I understood the value in her there. But then I did a video recently with Nepilepsy, who is a very high level Arena player. And we messed around in live Arena a little bit, and he threw her in a couple times, and then he shared her build with me. And so this is kind of my Nepilepsy-inspired Dome Fighter build that I've been playing around with. She can put out some crazy damage if you load her up on defense. So she's... I was viewing her as strictly a stall unit, right? And then she's got the passive that sort of like loads up her damage over the more she's hit, the less damage she'll take, and then the more damage she'll do when she does finally hit somebody. She can also buff her own defense, which can help her do damage and inflict the taunt like the light Dome Fighter has. And with the defense buff, yeah, I have one-shotted Nat 5s in Guild War with her with no defense down on them. Just flat out killing them. I won a fight earlier where she was the last one alive with a tree Archon. This fight. It was her and the tree Archon, and she soloed the tree Archon. Like, she is a ridiculous little unit. So I don't know about PvE potential so much, but for PvP, she's a lot of fun. She's fantastic for defense. Again, if you just load her up with HP and make her hard to kill, the big thing is she's immune to defense down. So unless someone can successfully bookworm her, it's going to be a problem. And if they don't successfully bookworm her, they're going to hit her several times, and she's going to get a turn, and she's going to be doing extra damage. And if she's built for damage, you are going to get caught off guard by how hard she hits you. Her damage output is bonkers, dude. So really fun unit, and again, kind of versatile. Load up HP and make her a stall tank, or load up defense and get some sneaky crit on her, and let her blow your mind with the amount of damage she does. It's crazy. It's actually crazy. Really fun little unit. So just another one that I think you should have on the radar. I think the Dome Fighters across the board are probably my favorite Nat 3s in the game at this stage. Every one of them is just so fun and interesting. You see I've 6-starred my tree one here. I'm going to be working on a guild team with her very soon. The water one's a lot of fun. The fire one can also do some crazy damage. I want to build my fire one soon as well. Light one is one of my favorite units of any star rating in the game right now. And dark I'm not super familiar with yet, but I will eventually build her and play around with her too. But yeah, they're all just so fun and useful. And I think sneaky damage, man. I think they can put out some damage that people are just not going to be ready for. So pretty cool unit. And then the last kind of group that I want to talk about are units that you probably hear about all the time, but I think there can be a tendency to like ignore because they're 3-star, or just sometimes it can be kind of hard to see the value in. I know in my Summoner's War days for a while I did this with Mav. If you played Summoner's War, you know how insanely good Mav is, the Wind Penguin, who is the equivalent of the turtle tank in this game. And I would read his skills and I would hear about how good he was, and I would think, I just don't get it. I just don't understand. Like, I don't understand why he's actually that good. I can see the cooldown reduction, but I just am not getting it. It's not clicking for me. And it took me forever to build him. And then I built him. I built Mav, and he absolutely one of my favorite monsters in all of Summoner's War. He is so good and so clutch. And sometimes it's hard to see the value in what units are doing. So like Fire Popo Rider, Tree Turtle Tank, Dark Giant are for sure like the main 3 Nat 3s that I want to make sure you're not sleeping on. They're very popular and you probably hear about them, but it's possible maybe that you go and read their skills and you just don't get it and you don't see why. I see this a lot with Dark Giant. I see a lot of like, is Dark Giant really that good? Is he really worth building? Yeah, man, he's crazy. He's crazy good for the value you can get out of him, for how easy he is to build and skill up. Same with the Tree Turtle Tank, same with the Fire Popo Rider. For the value you get out of these units and how easy they are to get to a usable place, it is just, they are going to surprise you. If you feel like you're reading their kits and not getting it, and you haven't built them yet, go ahead and just skip the waiting period that I went through with like Mav and some other units. Just take our word for it and build these units, and they are absolutely going to change what you're capable of in the account. Okay, they're just they're just so impactful. I mean, again, I'm going to clear Tunnel Hard 100 this month, and Giant and Tank have been on almost every team. They're on the auto team. I'm autoing stages in the 90s, and these two units are on it. Like, they're very, very good. So don't sleep on them. There's a lot of other units like this, but these are the kind of the ones that were pressing for me to talk about today. So we'll go ahead and wrap it up here. But let me know if you have any units that you slept on for too long, or that you think maybe people are sleeping on. Maybe you've discovered a unit that is doing a lot for you that you don't hear anybody talking about. I'd be very interested in hearing about units that you guys either slept on or think are being slept on. And maybe we'll do a part 2 to this soon with some of the recommendations in the comment section. So that's it. I hope I put somebody on your radar. Maybe you can get somebody rolling in your monster box or your Elamon box that wasn't being utilized fully. But that's it. I'm getting out of here. Hope it was helpful. Appreciate you guys watching. We'll see you later.